Hello, everyone. I'm Colin Tessier of WrestleZone.com, and welcome back to the recap of Honor. We took a week off last week, but we're back here now. We had a bunch of schedule changes, so sorry about the change there, but we're back on schedule here for WrestleZone to talk about all things Ring of Honor, from a very eventful episode of Ring of Honor Wrestling to pretty much a filled-out card for the Best in the World pay-per-view, which will be this weekend. I'm recording this on Monday, so this Sunday on July 11th, we'll be back with Ring of Honor on pay-per-view for Best in the World. Definitely an exciting show. I'm looking forward to that one. I'll be talking all about that card as well. Before we do, just want to remind you all that this show, like everything we do here at WrestleZone, is available on any number of streaming platforms, whether it's SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, whatever it may be. We've got you covered. So leave a like and subscribe. So we might as well start off with this weekend's episode of Ring of Honor Wrestling, and this one was it was definitely a special one. We had a title match, and we had the first ever fight on the farm in Ring of Honor history. And I guess I'll start with the title match. It was Jonathan Gresham defending the Ring of Honor Pure Championship against Fred Yehi. Now, John Gresham came into this match 9-0 in Pure Rules matches in Ring of Honor. And meanwhile, Fred Yehi definitely riding a lot of momentum since he earned the contendership there. So, and we did know that regardless, whoever won this match, we would know that they would go on to face Mike Bennett, Ring of Honor veteran Mike Bennett, for the title at Best in the World. So definitely beyond the title itself here, definitely some stakes tied to this match in that the winner would definitely have a spot on the Best in the World card. So as we've seen in recent matches with Jonathan Gresham, and I've said this many times before, but he's really one of the best in the world, especially at what he does. And what he does is just masterful, pure wrestling at its finest. And I think this was really evident when he faced Jay Lethal on the 500th episode. Pretty much every time he's in there, he's really just proving that he is just an elite pure wrestler. That's all I can really say about it, from the way that he really it's very like fine tactical craft. Like it's really hard to describe it if you haven't seen it. Just as he's really it's easy to compare it to art, just a real like a work of art there. And it's the way that he tells stories with these simple, wrist locks and these technical holds. It's not going to be a high flying match or even necessarily a hard hitting match in a traditional sense of like with two powerhouses. It's a very specific kind of style that is the foundation, and pun intended there, of what he's trying to really go and build Ring of Honor into, this foundation of pure wrestling. It's evident every time that he wrestles here. Fred Yehi has definitely been impressive ever since he made his Ring of Honor debut back in the Pure title tournament last fall. And as he talked about in a pre-match promo, he's had a bit of an inconsistent run in Ring of Honor, some losses here and there. He lost to Dak Draper at one point, but then he won a Pure Rules Gauntlet match, so he's right back there in the thick of title contention. And they also beat Rocky Romero, so he's definitely, like I said, he definitely had a lot of momentum going into this one. Now it is where I enjoyed this match a lot. Like I said, I thought it was great to see Gresham and Yehi, I should say, holding his own with a guy of Gresham's caliber. It really exchanging those technical holds and telling that kind of story. And the match was quite truly a stalemate in the literal sense of the word. I think even down to the 10-minute mark, both guys, neither one could really maintain the advantage. Neither guy could really take control. But this one really did feel a lot like Gresham's match with Jay Lethal that I mentioned a minute ago, where Gresham won with a roll-up. So he retained the title. He's now 10-0 in Pure Rules matches, still a champion, riding high into the Best on pay-per-view. I couldn't help but feel like I wanted a little more, though. Like for me, if I'm Jonathan Gresham, obviously a win's a win, but I'd want to win, kind of definitively. I'd want to make someone tap out or pin them with a signature move. And one of the best things about Jonathan Gresham is that he doesn't have one defining signature move. He can beat you any number of ways. They talk about that on commentary. Yehi talked about that on the Ring of Honor ROH Strong podcast before this match. So of course, I understand that, you can win any number of ways. But for me, it feels like a couple matches lately, especially the title matches specifically, Gresham has won not with like traditional roll-ups, but with like kind of some kind of pinning combination or pinning maneuver. So, I hope that maybe a Best in the World, or if not, the match after that, we'll see him really kind of get a really definitive statement win like that. Because, for me, at least from a fan's perspective, if I see someone, especially a champion, one of the roll up like that or a pin maneuver like that, I'm left thinking, Well, he didn't really win. There's kind of an asterisk there where it's like, and granted that helps Yehi because now he and Gresham even said after the match, Yehi, you can go train and try and hone your craft and come back and try and face me again someday. And that kind of this result leaves the door open for that because he could really easily say, hey, you didn't pin me and you didn't make me tap out. So that is one kind of thing I noticed where the Jay Lethal match. There may have been another one as well, but definitely the last two that I can recall, the Lethal match and now the Yehi one. Gresham winning essentially via roll up in a great match that I enjoyed a lot. But then having that ending, I'm left there like kind of wanting more in a good way, wanting a more definitive, more I don't want to say satisfying, but a more kind of emphatic result like that. Because now Yehi got rolled up, and then now the pay-per-view's on Sunday, and this is I watched the show on Monday, so now we're riding less than a week into the pay-per-view, and it's like I think Gresham could have really benefited from like I said, a really kind of definitive win like that. It is worth noting that Mike Bennett, now we know he will challenge Gresham at the pay-per-view. He was on commentary for this match. He was talking about how he really wants to earn Gresham's respect. That's kind of the hook of their upcoming match at Best in the World, where Mike Bennett, not really thought of as a pure wrestler, it really just that's not his background, but he earned a spot in that pure gauntlet match, and then kind of lo and behold, he earned a title shot. He is undefeated in singles matches since he returned to Ring of Honor. So that's definitely he's got that momentum on his side. But in the pure sense, in the pure division, he is definitely looking to prove himself in the sense that he's going in there against Jonathan Gresham, who, as I said, I think is one of the best in the world. I think that is probably an opinion you're going to hear if you ask anybody, other fans, other wrestlers. Jonathan Gresham, when it comes to pure wrestling, I would say he's pretty darn unmatched. So Bennett definitely looking to earn that respect, to prove that he is a pure wrestler like that. And after the match, in a post-match interview, Gresham said, hey, like I don't, basically said, I don't care if you want my respect. You don't have it. Like, I'm the champion. This is my division. I'm 10-0. You've got to kind of prove it to me. And he said like that he kind of, and I actually know, I should say that he did also say that he knows at least who Mike Bennett was back in the day when he was, a villain or a heel with the Kingdom back in the day. So he kind of has that on his mind. He has that image of Bennett in his head. So he said like, I don't respect you as a pure wrestler or really as a person. So kind of quickly here, quickly throwing together this heated rivalry where it's Gresham versus Bennett, the new foundation of Ring of Honor in a way versus not the old foundation, because Bennett wasn't here all too long ago, but there's definitely a kind of a clash of eras or periods in Ring of Honor history, I would say. So pretty all of a sudden, I would say this one, Gresham and Bennett is one of the matches at Best in the World that I'm very much looking forward to, and I will talk about that card after we finish talking about this episode of Ring of Honor Wrestling, because in the main event, we had the first ever fight on the farm in Ring of Honor history. It was Mark Briscoe versus Jay Briscoe, one of the very best tag teams in Ring of Honor. I would say probably the best Ring of Honor tag team they've in the company's history, and probably it's pretty safe to say one of the best tag teams of this generation in recent history. I think they've won, I want to say 11 tag team titles in Ring of Honor, which is a crazy accomplishment that is great for them. That speaks to their accomplishments, their skill, everything. So, but that being said, they have kind of been in a close streak lately. They've had a couple of losses. They haven't really been able to stay in the title mix. They've had a shot to earn title matches when they've lost those matches. So it's been a while since I've really seen them challenge for titles, let alone hold tag team titles. So because of that, and because of the fact that when we saw them the brothers first collide in recent memory at the 500th episode of Ring of Honor Wrestling, Mark Briscoe won via countout. And like I was saying about the Gresham match earlier, definitely, and this was definitely the case here, that was not a definitive result where it's like the brothers really wanted one of them to really win by pinfall or submission. So definitely that kind of set the stage for a rematch there, and we finally got it this weekend with a fight on the farm. And as just like it sounds, this was a fight on the farm. This was shot on location. As far as I know, this was at the Briscoes farm. They brought in Papa Briscoe. Papa Briscoe cut a promo before the match talking about how he wanted his sons to kind of settle their differences and get back to what they do best and being the best tag team in Ring of Honor, if not one of the best tag teams in wrestling. But he said you got to fight out like men. You got to handle this I don't know, country style, I guess for lack of a better word, and just fight it out, and that's what they did. This one, I think, other than the Vincent Matt Taven match back at 19th anniversary, well, that was on location as well. This was one of the first, if not only, cinematic matches in Ring of Honor history that I can recall that I've ever really seen, and I liked it a lot. I think if this was anyone other than the Briscoes, I don't think it would have worked, but purely because the Briscoes. This is who they are. From Sandy Fork, Delaware. They in other promos they've I think weeks ago or maybe months ago they had a promo where they literally cut it in the chicken coop. So this is very much who the Briscoes are, as that we're seeing them as performers, and as far as I know, the real people behind the guys we see on TV. So it was very cool to kind of see them in that light. It was cool to have Papa Briscoe in there, and there are a couple funny moments. At one point, Mark Briscoe climbed up on top of an RV, and he's like, "I'm gonna," and Jay was like, "What are you gonna do?" And there was some cursing. I don't want to just like curse on my own show here, but they were cursing at each other, and Mark was like, "Oh, I'm gonna dive on you. Are you scared?" And they're fighting on top of the RV, and then Jay threw Mark off the RV. Lots of crazy stuff. They hit each other with trash can lids. This was not like a traditional like hardcore match. Like they were kind of fighting. They started in a ring in a kind of a barn, and then came out into the yard. And then Jay knocked Mark into a truck and drove him over to the chicken coop. Mark dove off of a building, had a frog splash to a table. I have to say, after this match, I definitely have even more respect for the Briscoes. Not that I didn't have it before. Was as I said, they are, I think, 11-time tag team champions. But seeing just how much they really did from a physical risk standpoint, Mark diving off a building, all the crazy punishment they took in this match, and it's one thing when you're kind of in an empty arena. That's what Ring of Honor does. I guess I was thinking about the WWE Thunderdome. But these guys shooting on location, I have to imagine that's even harder. Where like you literally you can't even like pretend that there are fans there. You can't, or there's definitely no piped in noise. This was just on the farm, and so obviously they were probably feeling every single hit, every single crash through a table or what have you. Definitely a pretty hard-hitting match, and towards the end here especially, they were really just kind of like the Peerless match. Ironically, this was a stalemate. No one was really getting the upper hand. At some points it seemed like Jay was going to win. At some points it seemed like Mark was going to win, but then in the end, Papa Briscoe, after Mark dove off the building and hit the frog splash through a table, Papa Briscoe helped both guys who could barely walk. They went back to the ring where it started there in this match, and he said, "All right, are you good yet?" And the brothers hadn't fallen out yet, so they kept hitting each other. Mark dropped Jay with a clothesline, and finally, Papa Briscoe said, "Are you guys good now?" And they were good now. So the Briscoes, it would seem, are back together, having squashed the beef that they had, and now they are likely going to resume their focus on the tag team titles. And I'd have to imagine the day will come sooner or later where they will indeed get another tag title shot, because as again, that track record speaks for itself. I'd have to imagine that they'd have a pretty good shot now that they are back on the same page. They have a good shot against any tag team in Ring of Honor. So I'd have to imagine that we will soon see the day that they will challenge their titles. For me, it was interesting that I have a brother, and I can't imagine fighting him like this. I can't imagine throwing my brother off an RV. So obviously the Briscoes, they had a score to settle, and they wanted to fight out like men. This is what they did. But man, these guys just really they punished each other. They beat each other up. I'd imagine they're gonna be feeling this one for the next couple of days at least. So overall, I like this match a lot. I think it was a lot of fun. Definitely a great way to really shake it up, do something different in Ring of Honor, even in wrestling in general. For me, as a wrestling fan, as someone whose job is to watch wrestling, I watch a lot of it beyond Ring of Honor, with WWE, any number of companies. And this was very refreshing. It was different. It was new. So I know I appreciated that, and I think that was probably one of the biggest successes of this match. Was something really different and fresh, especially kind of. Really at the end of this pandemic era, as we've known it, at least things are supposedly returning to normal now. So this is kind of maybe a swan song to the pandemic era in that sense, because as I said, 6 days from now, on to recording this on Monday, will be Sunday, Best in the World, the pay-per-view, where fans will return for the first time in over a year due to the pandemic. So that'll be very, very exciting. I talked a bit about the pure title match, and again, I have to imagine I'd pretty much pick Jonathan Gresham against anybody. I respect Mike Bennett; he's got a great track record. He's very accomplished. He's very experienced. He won that Pure Rules Gauntlet match, but I'm sorry, I can't pick against Jonathan Gresham. I got to imagine that Jonathan Gresham's record will go to 11-0 in Pure Rules matches at Best in the World. I think he's going to beat Mike Bennett and head into the summer here, still as the Pure Champion here. And because it is only 6 days away, we do have a pretty good idea of what the card will be. Some of these matches were very, very recently added. I think just July. So I guess just late last week, a 6-man tag team match for the titles was added to the card. It'll be the Shane Taylor Promotions, Shane Taylor and the Sons of Soldiers of Savagery versus the oddball team of Dalton Castle, Eli Isom, and Dak Draper. Now, if you remember, kind of in recent weeks here, we've seen a hard to define conflict between Castle, Isom, and Draper. Isom beat Draper in the Survival of the Fittest qualifying match, kind of at least somewhat due to the presence and distraction of Dalton Castle. Admittedly, maybe inadvertently there, where I don't think he was necessarily trying to cost Castle, trying to cost Draper the match, but definitely some tension there. And now we'll talk about Survival of the Fittest in a minute, but Isom did not win that match, so now kind of quickly pivoting into this chase for the 6-man tag titles. Now having to team up with I would say someone that's quickly become a rival of his in Dak Draper and in Dalton Castle, a guy that just not too long ago, maybe a month or two ago, kicked him to below the belt. So it's fair to say there's no love lost between these guys. And then you got Shane Taylor Promotions, a well-oiled machine, a well-oiled unit that's been very successful. Got to imagine that Shane Taylor Promotions will definitely I would call him the favorite in this match, and what that would mean for Castle, Isom, and Draper, I don't really know. I mean, maybe we'll see kind of that unstable alliance implode, and maybe we'll see more tension and more bad blood kind of build up there. But I think it'll be a very fun match. But as I said, that kind of clash of a well functioning team and definitely an unstable one definitely sounds like a powder keg in many ways. We also saw that Dragon Lee has earned another shot at the television championship. He will face Tony Deppen for the title. Deppen beat Tracy Williams. We've had this kind of 3-way trade of the TV title in recent months, I should say, where Tracy Williams beat Kenny King because Dragon Lee was absent at 19th anniversary. Then Deppen beat Tracy Williams, and then in a triple threat match, Deppen pinned Williams in a match that also involved Lee to retain the title. So kind of just not hot potato, but definitely this kind of 3-way program here. But now Dragon Lee will face Tony Deppen. It will be a rematch of their clash from Final Battle 2020. That was when Deppen made his pay-per-view debut for Ring of Honor, and Deppen came short in that one, but he definitely impressed. So you know that he'll kind of have a chip on his shoulder, looking to say, "Hey, I'm the champion now. I'm going to beat Dragon Lee." I've got to say, at least for me, looking at it from a fan's perspective, I don't know. It's hard for me to pick against Dragon Lee. I've said it before on the show. I think he's one of the very best light heavyweights, or I don't want to say cruiserweights, but if you want to put a label on it, I'll just say one of the best wrestlers in the world, at least in that way. A great high flyer, a great striker, very experienced. I think Tony Deppen's very talented as well, but I've got to think that Dragon Lee's got to be the favorite, even as the challenger in this one. So, despite the first 2 predictions there being title defenses, I think that maybe if any title on the line on Sunday, the TV title might be the most likely to change. So that'll definitely be my thought for that one. Rumar McLean Spencer in the comments here saying, I look for Gresham to retain the pure title. He thinks Shane Taylor Promotions will retain the 6-man belts because of that tension I mentioned before. Yes, I think that what Dalton Castle, I guess, poking and prodding in the respective careers of Isom and Draper could definitely come back to bite him in this title match. So, like I said, I think Shane Taylor Promotions will definitely retain. Got to think that for the TV title could change hands there on Sunday, but there's so much more to look forward to. We're going to get a very heated last man standing match between Josh Woods and Silas Young. I recently interviewed Josh Woods and he talked about this match and his feud with Silas Young. Definitely check that out. It's on all of our audio and visual platforms that we have that I mentioned before. I've got to hope, maybe I'm biased, I hope that Josh Woods will come away with the win here. I think this will really kind of help take him to that next level in Ring of Honor against a real veteran and accomplished experienced guy like Silas Young, I think that a win here would really help Josh Woods, whether it's challenging for the pure title again, or even, maybe someday in not too distant future challenge for the world title. I think this could very well be a signature win in the young career of Josh Woods. And so I'm rooting for him, and I think that, based on we did see him beat beat Young in that pure rules match a couple weeks ago. I got to think that Woods kind of has the hot hand here, that he has that momentum. So I'm both rooting for Woods, and I think that he might be the favorite in that match. Beyond that, another non-title match will be EC3 versus Flip Gordon. EC3 lost his pay-per-view debut to Jay Briscoe at for Ring of Honor, I should say, at the 19th anniversary show back in March. He pretty quickly introduced into a feud with Flip Gordon, pretty much a clash of EC3 trying to find if honor is real, and he kind of learned that it is, or he was satisfied in that result in his match with Jay Briscoe. Now he's facing Flip Gordon. If you remember, the two of them faced the Briscoes in a tag team match when Flip Gordon cheated to win that match, unbeknownst to EC3. EC3 had a problem with it. Lo and behold, we have a match between the two. I have to imagine, it's hard to pick. I think for looking from EC3, I think he's going to really go into this one with even more pressure on himself to win, even more desire to win because of that loss at the previous pay-per-view. But for me, I think Flip Gordon, he's going to want to pick up a big win here because he'll be challenging Roosh for the world title at on Glory by Honor, the Ring of Honor's next show in Philadelphia in August. So I think this will be a very, very good chance for Flip Gordon to earn a big win ahead of that title match, whoever the champion may be, which leads me to my next point. Bandito won the Survival of the Fittest tournament. I think that was last week. As I mentioned before, we didn't do a show last week due to a couple of scheduling changes, but Bandito won Survival of the Fittest. That means that puts him in a very impressive lineage alongside guys like Bryan Danielson, Chris Hero, Tyler Black, Eddie Edwards, Jay Lethal, Adam Cole, several others. So I think that's a very nice feather in the cap for Bandito. I've said this on the show before. He's one of my very favorites in Ring of Honor. I think he's immensely talented. This is the first time that he's challenged for the world title in Ring of Honor, so this is a very great opportunity for him. As a fan of his, I'm very excited about that. I think we're in for a great match between Bandito and Roosh at the pay-per-view, but I don't know if I see Bandito pulling it off. I think that Roosh, he's a champion for a reason. He's held the title as long as he has for a reason. I would obviously not put it past him and the faction on Ingo Bernabé to bend the rules to make sure that Roosh leaves the title with the title still around his waist here. So I'm very much expecting a great electric main event here. But as much as I want to see Bandito get that win, I don't know if this is the time. So I'm going to predict, whatever you want to say, Roosh to leave with the title. Although I do think even the defeat, Bandito will definitely benefit from a great showing here. And lastly here, I mentioned the other title matches, and we also see a clash won't be for a title, but between two main eventers, between two guys that are definitely kind of, if I'll say, on the precipice of the world title scene. It'll be Jay Lethal versus Brody King in a clash of two unofficial leaders of the two top stables in Ring of Honor, or two of the top stables, I should say. Violence Unlimited for Brody King, and for Jay Lethal, the Foundation. I've mentioned it every time we do this show in recent weeks. This ongoing stable warfare, it's been a lot of fun. It's been the Foundation, Violence Limited, and LFI. So now this singles match with King and Lethal will be a pretty big test to see kind of whose faction really is the, maybe other than Roosh, because Roosh is the world champion, maybe who's number two, who's number three, and that kind of hierarchy. I gotta say, I don't know. If I had to pick, and if I'm trying to do predictions for all these matches, I'm gonna go for Brody King. Jay Lethal, the franchise, he's been, I would argue, one of the most accomplished singles guys in Ring of Honor right now, if not Ring of Honor history. But at the same time, maybe this is Brody King's time. Brody King riding a lot of momentum. He's got Violence Unlimited. He's got just this buzz about him, and it's proved that he's got this new attitude, this new mindset. So I think went for a great match with this one as well. But I got to give the edge to Brody King, and I think kind of coming out of Best of the World, if he wins especially, I would look for maybe Brody King to be maybe back in front of the line, or at least near the front of the line for another title shot. Of course, he faced Roosh back in Final Battle 2020. LFI cheated and interfered to make sure that Brody King didn't win that one. But now, with a stable of his own by his side, maybe Brody King will be able to kind of even the playing field there and get another title shot there. So definitely looking forward to that. I hope to do another show about the pay-per-view beforehand, a true preview show for the pay-per-view I'm working on some things there. So obviously here at Wrestling, we'll keep you guys posted about that, whether or not that comes to pass. But I will be reviewing the show obviously next week, no matter what, here on the Recap of Honor. And also I'll be doing I plan to do a preview and a review editorial for the show. I just really kind of maximize the coverage for it, because this is a big deal. Ring of Honor back on pay-per-view with live fans for the first time since the pandemic started. I know I'm excited. I hope you are too. So that will be Sunday, July 11th. You gotta tune in. I say this every week about the Ring of Honor Wrestling. The show is free. All right, for every week you're gonna get roughly an hour of the best wrestling on the planet, and you can't go wrong. It's free, no extra charge. It's on the Ring of Honor website. It's on Fight TV free on Monday nights. You gotta check it out. But for the pay-per-view, yeah, you got to pay for it, but it's gonna be worth every buck you pay. You're gonna get the bang for your buck, and I can't emphasize that enough. And I don't have to sell it, as I don't stand to gain from that. I'm just saying that as a fan of Ring of Honor, can't recommend it enough. I think we're in for a great pay-per-view. I know I'm looking forward to it. I think that, kind of top to bottom, the card's very solid. Like I said, that main event match really stands out to me. I think Bandito and Rush are going to tear the house down. I think Jay Lethal, Brody King are going to have a great match. The TV title match, I really enjoyed. But the last time we saw Depp and Face Lee, pretty much, again, top to bottom, very, very good card. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you are as well. Well, full coverage of the show. As I said, I got a couple of things in the works kind of leading up to the show and obviously after the show to review it. And then we'll be back here to talk about the pay-per-view and next weekend's episode of Ring of Honor Wrestling here on the Recap of Honor. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you for listening. And remember to do one thing above all others, no matter what wrestling you prefer, no matter what wrestling you watch. It's important to do one thing above all others, and that is to enjoy that wrestling, because we are returning here to that sense of relative normalcy. So, with fans coming back for this weekend for Ring of Honor and for other companies as well, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan, and just enjoy it. Thanks for listening, everybody.